What it is, YouTube? Is your boy DC coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. So now today we're gonna be talking about how to get those mainstream kicks and those drums that hit really hard. And I wanted to talk about this dope plugin knock, but I also wanted to show you like the overall mentality of how I feel like when I mix rap drums and stuff. So let's get to it right now. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also down below, you want to support the channel, well, go ahead and check the links. All right, so let's get to it right now.
See, I'm gon' get that money, you gon' go and hate on me or what? I'm in Miami, watch me jump right out that double R truck. This bitch, she with me from the city and she turning up like, yeah. Too many drugs, they round the club, we going up. She saw that kick it, I told her we got drugs right now. I'm off Henny with my semi, ben I run up on me, yeah. Shit on the ticket, she love it when I put that shit on, yeah. Backseat riding with that chopper and I sipping double cup. I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust you pull on side me, the real we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like him put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive it. Them bags right out the back. Yo, the basement we got dirty. I brought it.
All right, really dope. Okay, so this is actually a song I used in a course. I think it was like the modern rap course. It's the one that got Gunner, Young Thug, and Future on the cover. So if y'all want to see the whole course, the way I broke down the vocals and all of this extravagant, do this Nixon type of stuff, you can check it in the link down below. So the plugin that we're looking at today is Knock, and I just love how it's just like a chain of a bunch of different things. And I just wanted to talk about the plugin. So the very first thing that you got to understand when it comes to your kicking your bass is like, okay, which one do you want to be the king? You feel me? Which one do you want it to be like? I kind of imagine like two MMA fighters, the ground game. Which one is on the top? Which one is on the bottom type shit like that, all right? So yeah, you got to decide, do you want the kick to be on top or the bass to be on top? It depends on the sound, bro. I'm not going to lie, because sometimes you be in a situation, right, where it's kind of like you making a sandwich. Do you want the motherfucking cheese to be on top or the lettuce to be on top? In the end, it kind of really don't truly matter. But sometimes, depending on which one you taste first, the cheese or the lettuce, it might make the end product, feel better. You feel me? But taste wise, but imagine it with your ears. So Knock, the first plugin on it, the first part of it is knowing that the kick, hey, the kick needs a little bit of doesn't need transient enhancement. So that's why I use this part right here. The first thing is the punch part. It's a transient enhancer, kind of like Voice of God too. So yeah, when you think about a plugin like Voice of God, you got to think about this one, the UAD Lil Labs Voice of God. If you don't have it, I think it's Bark of Dog. I deleted that shit because I already got the original one. But all this is really doing is just like how you see in the picture. It's just doing like a resonant bump where it's like cutting off an aggressive amount of lows. Because I understand that, like, okay, my low end, my super lows, my subby is gonna be my subby tubby. The belly is gonna be occupied by the 808. So I use my pull tech to fill up all that bottom, the ass of the bass and the low end. You feel me? The ass is occupied by the 30 hertz, bump over here type shit like that. So I'm already knowing like, okay, boom, on my kick, I can like cut off all the shit. That's what the Voice of God does as well, right? Another great plugin to also understand too is like back in the day, bro, maybe it was like the SPL transient designer was one of those plugins too that people would use to, just enhance the transient. And sometimes what you could do is you just, rather than you using EQ, because the Voice of God is a resonant EQ, you can just use transient enhancement to make your kick hit harder. So let me show you an example of that. So also another great plugin too that is people don't know about on drums, but is using the SSL because it has an expander. And upwards expansion is pretty much like transient enhancement too. So sometimes using an expander, what it does is like anything that falls below the threshold, it will raise the volume up. So expanders are a great way to make the kick hit hard. After that, saturation, right? Let's think about what saturation does for a kick. I think about something like Decapitator. You feel me? Like it's great on drums too. It's great on the kick. But let's see what it was doing here on this actual song though.
rear view. I tell them bust, you pull outside me. On the road, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like, come put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive. Sippin' double cup, I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull outside me. On the road, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like, come put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive. Say them bags right.
So that's the thing about it. That's the thing about it. What I imagine the saturation part to be is like the heftiness. You feel me? The weight. You feel me? So there's a difference between the shape of the kick, which is this like the shape making it more pointy, like Pinocchio, making the nose sharper, or the actual heftiness, right? And that's where the saturation comes in. Another great plugin to help with saturating your kick is Decapitator. And the modes that I usually use is like triode. If you want to fatten up a kick, you can use the triode mode. I like the triode and the A. You feel me? This is like a tape, the Ampex preamp too, that really helps a lot, you know, really thicken up a kick. But it depends what you want out of the kick. Do you want thickness? Do you want grit? You know, maybe the N mode will work well as well. In terms of saturators, another fucking crazy ass plugin for the saturator of a kick, which is the next type of thing that I like to do sometimes, is Spectre. And I have a preset. You could copy this preset, and this shit makes the kick hit a little bit harder. I'm gonna just show you.
Sippin' double cup, I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull outside me. On the road, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like, come put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive. Say them bags right out the sippin' double cup, I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull outside me. On the road, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like, come put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive. Say them bags.
So another dope way to get your rap kick to really thump hard is using something like Spectre and copying that little preset. All right. So I guess it's a combination of active EQ and all that other shit. Okay, boom, sub. Now, of course, my sub was already being occupied by the bass, so I didn't need to add any more sub. But if you did want to add some sub to a kick, you know, I think the best thing to use is actually a pull tech, to be honest. Just find a frequency you like and crank it up like 3-4 dB. And this is a situation where sometimes you might have like one of those Jetson made another one type of 808s, right? Where most of the 808 is actually just mid-range content. So you need to use your ears to identify that, oh shit, you know, the 808 is gonna occupy most of the mid-range, and maybe the kick is gonna occupy most of the super low end. It depends on the drum pattern and stuff like that. You feel me? Sometimes the kick does need to have that super low end. It depends though. But yeah, in a situation like that, if the kick is really going to be driving the tubbiness and maybe the bass, right? Like the Jetson made another one bass, or like even a Destroyed Lonely, some of the 808s he uses more like mid-range focus rather than actual low end focused, right? That's a situation where you might want to add some sub to your kick. And I keep it simple. I just use a goddamn pull tech. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about is high end. Right, high end is actually something very interesting in terms of you know, getting something to stand out. So usually if I was on a kick, you know, sometimes I even filter off top end, you know, on a kick. I don't just do like actual filter. I do maybe like a little bit of a low shelf like this, you feel me? So like maybe filter out, maybe like if there's some like rumble or whatever in the kick, sometimes I might just do it like it's just a slight little bit of like a low shelf to help the kick feel a little bit more like isolated in the top end. And people back in the days would do that too, even drummers and shit like that. They would maybe like just do a bit of a shelf. You feel me? If the kick maybe is a little bit too bright and it helps it in the mix. Let me see if a move like this would work.
Sippin' double cup, I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull outside me. On the road, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like, come put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive. Say them bags right out the sippin' double cup, I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull outside me. On the road, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like, come put that dick inside me. Hold on. Sippin' double cup, I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull outside me. On the road, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like, come put that dick.
Fuck, I should have did that on the original song. Now I feel stupid. But yeah, just ever so slightly rolling off just a little bit of the top end, because the kick is mostly occupying like, you know, this area. We don't really need all of this. I wouldn't tell you to be like Jason Joshua and roll it all off. Like, nah, just a little something that like 20K or 10K sometimes can isolate just that high end that we don't even need and just really focus that kick and make it thud even more, bruh. Hear the before and after.
sipping double cup. I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull on side me. Hero, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like them put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive it. Them bags right.
Yeah, so that's really dope too. So yeah, when it comes to high end on kick, I don't really give a fuck about it. If I'm on a pull tech, I might jack up a little 8K or 5K to give it more bite, but that's not really high end, you know. So yeah, in terms of like working in high end for a kick, that's how I kind of perceive it. You feel me? Like throwing on that little motherfucking umbrella or that little propeller hat sometimes actually just isolates the head. Like when you go to the fucking, you might see some people in the salon or some shit. They're trying to get their hair dried up, so they put them under that big hair dryer, and that kind of isolates their head and really dries the shit up, rather than just putting it out in the air and letting the air dry it. You feel me? Just really focuses the drying and really effectively does it. So that's the same thing about the cake too. You know, ever so slightly put on a little bit of a filter just at the top, the tippity top. Don't do all of this shit like Jason Joshua. Nah, if you really need it though. If you don't need it, don't do it. But if you truly feel like, man, I really need to like make my mid range get a little bit more emphasis, sometimes you can just roll off just a little bit of that super top end. You feel me? All right, dope. And the last thing I want to talk about is the clipper. The clipper generates the mid range distortion. You feel me? You don't always need it. You don't always need it. But on this song, I did use the standard clip, and I just like how with the clipper, it just generates distortion. It's just more jalapenos. I know Mexicans love to eat jalapenos, so that's why I always bring up jalapenos because I grew up around Mexicans. So yeah, it get the more of that jalapeno spice to the mid range that helps it feel more full, and also it just keeps it nominally under control. I like to put the clipper on the kick because I know that the clipper is actually gonna make it easier for my final limiter to not get triggered as much by the transient of the kick. You feel me?
Sipping double cup. I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull on side me. Hero, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like them put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive it. Them bags right out the sipping double cup. I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull on side me. Hero, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like them put that.
I would turn the clipper off, but the whole mix might sound different if the transient of the fuck it.
Sipping double cup. I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull on side me. Hero, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like them put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive it. Them bags right out the sipping double cup. I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull on side me. Hero, we leave the body. What you tryna get into? She like them put that dick inside me. Hold on, I drive it. Them bags right out the sipping double cup. I keep them shooters in my rear view. I tell them bust, you pull on side me. Hero, we.
Yeah, so it makes it to the point where like the kick ever so slightly is just nibbling. So yeah, that's the thing I want to talk about this knock plugin, man, because it's really dope. It's an all-in-one processor, and I just wanted to show the different alternatives. Now, when I do a kick, a bass, I don't use all of these things, but it's good to know like, oh, this might be the time to use that voice of God or a transient designer. This might be a good time to saturate because I want thickness. This might be a good time to maybe fuck around with my high end. This might be a good time to clip. I don't always do all these things, but I just wanted to show like this is a dope plugin and the mentality behind it. So that's pretty much the end of the video here today. Just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Suggest more video ideas. You want to see the full mix breakdown, go check on my website. The courses is very cheap. Modern rap, the one with Gunner and Future and Thug on that shit. And yeah, suggest more ideas. Support the channel. Appreciate you guys. Peace.